Imagine facing failure after failure but never backing down. What if that was the secret to achieving everything you've ever dreamed of? Today, I'm going to show you how to develop the unstoppable mindset of someone who simply never gives up. We all admire those people who seem like they're made of steel, people who face challenges head on, fall down, and still get back up every single time. But here's the truth. This mindset isn't something they're born with, it's something you can develop. In this video, we're going to uncover the steps to building a mindset so resilient, so focused, that no obstacle can stop you. Whether you're just starting your self-improvement journey or you're already working on big goals, this will change the way you see challenges forever. Understand the power of failure. Let's start with the truth. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. The problem is most of us have been conditioned to see failure as a dead end. Maybe it's because of school, where mistakes meant red marks on a paper. Or maybe it's the society we live in, that loves to highlight success but rarely talks about the struggle it took to get there. But here's the truth. Failure is the price you pay to learn, grow, and ultimately succeed. Think about it. Every great success story you've ever heard involves setbacks, struggles, and mistakes. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up isn't talent or luck, it's how they view failure. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike for the first time. You fall over and over. No one looks at a kid who falls off their bike and think they're a failure. Instead, we encourage the kid to keep trying. But as adults, we stop giving ourselves that same grace because we've stopped seeing failure as part of the process and started seeing it as proof that we're not good enough. Here's where the shift happens. Instead of viewing failure as a wall you can't get through, think of it as a door, one that might be tough to open but leads to your next step. Let's break this down further. Imagine you're trying to bake a cake for the first time. You misread the recipe, the cake burns, and you think, well, I'm just not good at this. But if you stop there, you've robbed yourself of the chance to learn. What could you have done instead? Maybe you needed to double check the recipe or set the oven to the right temperature. Every mistake is feedback. It's the world giving you the data you need to improve. A more profound example of this are athletes. Do you think they're born with the ability to win gold medals? Of course not. They train for years, making mistakes, adjusting techniques, and pushing past their limits. A marathon runner doesn't quit after a bad race. They study what went wrong. This perspective of treating failure as data rather than defeat is what separates winners from those who give up. Perspective changes everything. When you see failure as a step forward rather than a step back, you stay in motion. Momentum is key. When you stop moving, that's when doubt creeps in, telling you that maybe you're not cut out for this. But with the right perspective, you can look at any failure and keep moving forward. When you face a setback, take a deep breath and reflect on what went wrong and what you can learn from that. Here's a story to inspire you. In the 1990s, a young filmmaker named James Cameron was trying to create a groundbreaking sci-fi movie. His first attempt at creating realistic underwater effects failed miserably. His equipment didn't work and he ran out of money. Instead of giving up, Cameron took what he learned from that failure and applied it to his next attempt. Years later, he created Titanic and eventually Avatar, two of the highest grossing films of all time. What's the takeaway? Cameron didn't let failure define him. He used it as a tool to build something even better. The key is simple. Failure isn't the enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Build your why, your unshakable purpose. Let's face it, life gets hard, and chasing big goals is never easy. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when progress feels painfully slow, or when the obstacles seem overwhelming. That's when your why becomes your anchor. It's the thing that keeps you going when everything else tells you to stop. Your why isn't just an idea, it's the fuel behind your persistence. It's the true reason you're pursuing your goals. Without it, every setback feels like a reason to quit. But when your purpose is clear and meaningful, you become unstoppable. Your why is personal. It could be providing a better life for your family, breaking free from a job you hate, proving to yourself that you can overcome adversity, or making a difference in the world. The key is that it has to matter deeply to you. Superficial reasons won't cut it when things get tough. When your purpose is clear, it gives meaning to your struggles. It reminds you that every setback, every failure, every night you lose sleep is worth it, because you're working towards something that truly matters to you. Without a strong why, it's easy to get distracted or discouraged, but with it, you'll find a way to keep moving forward, no matter how hard things get. Close your eyes and imagine the moment you achieve your goal. Who's with you? How do you feel? What impact have you made? Make this vision vivid and emotional. It'll keep you motivated during tough times. Your purpose is what keeps you moving in the right direction when life tries to knock you off course. The stronger and clearer your purpose, the more resilient you become. So take the time to find it and let it guide you, because when you know your purpose, quitting isn't an option. Surround yourself with resilient people. Understand this. Your environment shapes your mindset. Whether you realize it or not, the people you spend the most time with influence your habits, beliefs, and even your resilience. Maybe you've heard before that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And guess what? That's completely right. If you're surrounded by people who quit at the first sign of difficulty, it becomes easier for you to do the same. But if you're surrounded by individuals who embrace challenges, support your growth, and inspire you to keep going, you'll naturally rise to their level. Why? Because resilience is contagious. Imagine you're trying to climb a mountain. If the people around you are complaining about how steep it is, you might start doubting your ability to keep climbing. But if your circle is filled with people who are cheering you on or leading by example, suddenly the climb doesn't feel so impossible. Every high-level athlete has a coach. Every successful entrepreneur has a mentor. When you're surrounded by high achievers, you naturally want to level up. Their energy, discipline, and resilience become a model for what's possible. Those people hold you accountable. They'll remind you of your goals and call you out when you're slacking. And having a circle of people who lift you up instead of dragging you down makes all the difference. Look at entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Apple wasn't built by one person, it was a product of collaboration. Jobs and Wozniak challenged and inspired each other, combining their strengths to create something revolutionary. To build your circle of resilience, you need to analyze your current relationships. Are the people in your life lifting you up or pulling you down? Do they encourage you to keep going, or do they reinforce negative habits like giving up too soon? If you see that those people are not helping you, you need to find people with the same mindset as you. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life completely, but it's essential to be mindful of how much influence they have on you. Start by joining a community of individuals who think like you do. For example, if you're into fitness, join a local gym. If you're an aspiring writer, find a writing workshop. If you're starting a business, look for networking events. The people you surround yourself with can either propel you forward or hold you back, so choose wisely. Develop unbreakable habits. Motivation is like a spark. It gets you started, but it won't keep the fire burning for long. That's where habits come in. Habits are the foundation of resilience because they work even when your motivation is gone. When life gets chaotic and you feel drained, your habits take over and keep you moving toward your goals. They're the autopilot for success, ensuring you stay consistent no matter what. Success isn't about huge, dramatic efforts. It's about the small, consistent actions you take every day. Over time, these actions compound, creating massive results. Think about this. How often do you feel like going to the gym, studying, or working on your side hustle? Probably not every day, right? But when you have a habit in place, you don't wait for motivation, you just do it. Olympic athletes don't train when they feel like it. They train every day because their habits are non-negotiable, whether it's waking up at 5 a.m. for practice or sticking to a strict diet. The beauty of habits is that the small wins stack over time. Running for 10 minutes a day might not feel like much, but over a year, that's over 60 hours of exercise. Tiny actions compound into big results. There are a few things you can do to build unbreakable habits. Start with something small that it's impossible to fail. Track your progress to see how much you're evolving, and reward yourself after the small wins. Developing the mindset of someone who never gives up isn't about being born special or having superhuman willpower. It's about the choices you make, the habits you build, and the people you surround yourself with. It's about shifting your perspective, connecting deeply with your why, and showing up even when it's hard. Drop a comment below. What's one goal you're working on right now, and what's keeping you motivated? I'd love to hear your story. And remember, resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising stronger every single time. Keep going, keep growing. You've got this.